The shuttle doors opened with a loud hiss and Hanna stepped onto the docking platform of Nexus Prime. The space station was massive beyond anything she had ever seen. Metal walls stretched up so high she could not see the ceiling. Lights blinked everywhere like stars, and the air hummed with energy from thousands of machines. But what made Hanna stop and stare were the other beings walking around her. A creature with 4 arms and blue skin walked past, each of its arms as thick as Hanna's entire body. Its head turned toward her, and she saw eyes like black diamonds studying her with curiosity. Behind it came something that looked like a walking tree, its bark-like skin making soft creaking sounds as it moved. Then a group of beings with wings instead of arms flew overhead, their feathers shining like metal in the bright lights. Hanna looked down at herself. She was wearing the standard cadet uniform, but it looked so small compared to everyone else. At 19 years old and 5 feet 4 inches tall, she had always been average height back on Earth. Here, she felt like a child who had wandered into a world of giants. "You must be the human," said a voice behind her. Hanna turned around and had to look up, way up. The being speaking to her had to be at least 8 feet tall. It had 4 arms, each one ending in hands with too many fingers. Its skin was the color of deep ocean water, and when it spoke she could see rows of sharp white teeth. "I am Instructor Veltar," the being said. Its voice was deep and rumbling like distant thunder. "I will be your combat training instructor. You are smaller than I expected." "I'm Hanna," she said, trying to keep her voice steady. "I'm here for the exchange program." Veltar made a sound that might have been laughter. "Yes, the human exchange program. Very interesting. Follow me, Cadet Lee. We must get you registered and show you to your quarters." As they walked through the station, Hanna noticed how other beings stared at her. Some pointed with whatever they used for hands. Others made sounds she could not understand, but their tone made it clear they were talking about her. A few even stopped walking to get a better look. "Is there something wrong with how I look?" Hanna asked. "Wrong? No, not wrong," Veltar said. "It is just that humans are new to most of us, and you are much smaller than we expected. Your species has a reputation for being quite fragile." The word fragile hit Hanna like a cold wind. She had trained for 2 years to qualify for this program. She had passed every test, beaten every challenge, but apparently to these beings, she was just a breakable thing. They entered a large room filled with other cadets. The noise was incredible. Dozens of different species were talking, laughing, and moving around. Some were practicing combat moves, their movements creating whooshing sounds through the air. Others were lifting weights that looked like they weighed more than a car. When Hanna walked in, the room slowly became quiet. A massive being covered in what looked like gray stone turned toward her. Its eyes were like pieces of red glass, and when it stood up, it was nearly 10 feet tall. Rock-like skin covered its entire body, making it look like a living statue. "Is that supposed to be a warrior?" the stone being asked, its voice like grinding rocks. "It looks like it would break if I breathed on it too hard." Several other cadets laughed. The sound echoed through the room, making Hanna's cheeks burn with embarrassment. "That is Cadet Thokmor," Veltar whispered to her. "He is a granulite. His people are known for their strength and their direct way of speaking." "I can hear you," Thokmor said, walking closer. Each step made the floor vibrate slightly. "Tell me, tiny human, what combat training have you had? Do your people fight with sticks and stones?" More laughter came from around the room. Hanna saw beings of all shapes and sizes watching her, waiting to see what she would say. "I've trained in martial arts since I was 6, Hanna said, lifting her chin. "I know how to fight." "Martial arts?" said another voice. This one belonged to a long, snake-like being with arms. Its skin changed colors as it spoke, shifting from green to yellow to red. "What is that? Some kind of dance?" "It's fighting," Hanna said, her voice getting stronger. "Hand-to-hand combat, using your body as a weapon." Thokmor laughed so hard that small pieces of rock fell from his skin. "Your body as a weapon? Look at yourself. You have no claws, no armor, no natural weapons at all. Your skin looks like it would tear if I touched it with one finger." The snake being slithered closer. "I am Zixara," it said. "I can strike faster than most beings can see. But I would never fight a human. It would not be fair. You might die from the shock." Now, Veltar said, raising all 4 of his arms. "That is enough. Cadet Lee is here to learn. Just like all of you, she will be given modified training appropriate for her species." "Modified training?" Hanna asked. "Yes," Veltar said. Humans are classified as a delicate species. We have special protocols to keep you safe. You will train with padded equipment and reduced intensity exercises. We cannot risk injury to such a fragile being. The word fragile again. It seemed to follow her everywhere. What if I don't want modified training? Hana asked. What if I want to train like everyone else? The room erupted in laughter again. Even Veltar's expression changed to what might have been amusement. Cadet Lee, the instructor said, you must understand. The beings here come from worlds with different gravity, different environments. Thokmor's people evolved on a planet where the gravity is 3 times what you are used to. His skin can stop energy weapons. Zixara can move faster than your eyes can follow, and her venom can paralyze a Brixian. Veltar gestured around the room. Everyone here has natural abilities that make them formidable warriors. Humans do not. You are soft, slow, and weak compared to galactic standards. There is no shame in this, but we must be realistic. Hana felt her hands clench into fists, but she kept her voice calm. I understand. Good, Veltar said. Your quarters are in Section C, Level 7. Tomorrow we begin your modified training program. You will start with basic flexibility exercises and light sparring with other peaceful species. As Hana walked toward the exit, she heard Thokmor's voice behind her. I almost feel sorry for the humans, he said, sending their weakest people to train with warriors. It's like sending a flower to fight in a storm. The laughter followed her all the way to her quarters. Hana's room was small but comfortable. It had a bed, a desk, and a small window that looked out into space. She could see stars scattered like diamonds across the black void, and somewhere among them was Earth. She sat on the bed and looked at her hands. They were small and soft compared to the claws and rocky fists she had seen today. Her skin was pale and looked thin next to the armored hides and scales of her fellow cadets. Maybe they were right. Maybe humans really were too weak for this place. But then she remembered why she was here. Earth had been invited to join the Galactic Military Alliance. This was humanity's chance to prove they belonged among the stars. And she was one of only 12 humans chosen for this program. She thought about her training back on Earth. Hours and hours of practice, pushing her body to its limits. The bruises, the sore muscles, the exhaustion that came after every session. Her instructors had been tough, demanding perfection from every movement. But had it been enough? Standing up, Hana walked to the small mirror mounted on the wall. The face looking back at her was young, determined, but undeniably human. Soft features, brown eyes, black hair tied back in a simple ponytail. No fangs, no scales, no natural armor. Just a girl from Earth surrounded by beings who could probably kill her without even trying. Tomorrow would be her first day of training. Modified training, designed for someone too weak to handle the real thing. The thought made her stomach twist with frustration. But as she prepared for bed, Hana made herself a promise. She would show them that humans were more than they appeared. She would prove that being small did not mean being weak. She just had to figure out how. 3 weeks had passed since Hana arrived at Nexus Prime, and each day felt like a test of her patience. Every morning, she would report to the modified training area while the other cadets went to the main combat facility. Her training partners were a small, furry being called Piptal who looked like a walking teddy bear, and Nimara, an elegant winged creature who spoke in whispers and moved like she was dancing through air. The exercises were simple, stretching routines that a human child could do. Light sparring that felt more like playing tag, equipment made of soft materials that could not possibly hurt anyone. Instructor Veltar watched from a distance, nodding approvingly whenever Hana completed a movement without falling over. Very good, Cadet Lee, he would say. You are making excellent progress for your species. But through the transparent walls of her training room, Hana could see the real training happening. Massive beings threw each other across rooms. Energy weapons fired bright beams that left scorch marks on reinforced walls. The sound of metal hitting metal rang out like thunder as creatures with natural armor practiced combat techniques that looked like they could level buildings. And every day, the mockery continued. Look, it's the human, Thokmor would say when she walked past, still in one piece, remarkable. I heard they have to use special gentle soap to wash her, said Zixara, her skin shifting to amused yellow. Regular soap might damage her delicate skin. Do humans really bleed red? Asked another cadet, an insect-like being with multiple eyes. I thought they might leak something softer like flower nectar. The laughter always followed these comments. It echoed through the corridors and followed Hana wherever she went. The worst part was mealtime. The cafeteria served food for dozens of different species, from raw metal chunks that some beings crunched like candy, to glowing liquid that others drank through tubes. Hana's human food came on a special tray marked with warnings about contamination and dietary restrictions. She usually sat alone at a small table in the corner, but today someone sat across from her. "I'm Park Gino," the young man said in Korean, then switched to Galactic Standard. "I'm the other human here." Hana looked up, surprised. She had not seen another human since arriving. Gino was tall and thin with kind eyes behind simple glasses. He wore the uniform of the technical division, not combat training. "You're human?" she asked. "Why haven't I seen you before?" "I work in the computer systems section," Gino said. "Different schedules, different areas. I heard about your situation with the combat cadets." "My situation?" Gino looked uncomfortable. "Everyone's talking about it. The human who thinks she can fight with the warriors. Some of them are taking bets on how long you'll last before you quit and go home." The words hit Hana like cold water. "They're betting on me failing?" 50-1 odds, Gino said quietly. "Look, Hana, maybe you should consider transferring to technical or medical. There's no shame in it. We can still serve the Alliance without trying to prove we're something we're not." "Something we're not?" Hana's voice got sharper. "What does that mean?" "It means we're human," Gino said. "We're not built like them. We don't have their strength or speed or natural weapons. We survive by being smart, not strong." Before Hana could answer, a shadow fell across their table. Thokmor stood behind Gino, his rocky face wearing what might have been a smile. "Well, well," the Granulite said. "Both humans in one place. How convenient." He looked down at Gino. "Move." Gino stood up quickly and backed away. "I should get back to work anyway." "Wait," Hana said. But Gino was already walking away, his shoulders hunched like he was trying to disappear. Thokmor sat down in the chair Gino had left. The metal groaned under his weight. "Your friend is smart," he said. "He knows his place. You should learn from him." "My place?" "Yes. Humans are meant to work with computers and medical equipment. Safe jobs for safe people. Fighting is for real warriors." Thokmor leaned forward and Hana could smell something like burning stone coming from his skin. "You should quit this foolish combat training before you get hurt." "I'm not going to quit." Thokmor's laugh sounded like rocks grinding together. "Look at yourself. You probably weigh less than my arm. I could break every bone in your body without even trying." "Then don't try," Hana said. The conversation around them began to quiet, as other cadets noticed what was happening. Thokmor's red eyes grew brighter. "You have spirit, little human. I'll give you that. But spirit doesn't make weak bones strong." He stood up, his full height casting Hana in shadow. "Perhaps you need a demonstration of the difference between us." Before Hana could react, Thokmor's hand moved. It was not a punch, just a casual push with his palm against her shoulder. But the force behind it sent Hana flying backward out of her chair. She hit the floor and slid several feet across the smooth metal surface. The cafeteria went completely silent. Hana lay on the floor for a moment, feeling the cold metal against her back. Her shoulder throbbed where Thokmor had touched her, and she knew there would be a bruise. But as she started to sit up, she realized something that surprised her. That was it. A bruise, not broken bones or torn muscles, just a bruise. She had been hit by a being who could punch through starship armor, and all she had was a bruise. Standing up slowly, Hana brushed dust off her uniform. Every eye in the cafeteria was watching her. Some of the aliens looked surprised that she was still standing. Others seemed disappointed that she had not been seriously injured. "Interesting," said a voice from the entrance. Everyone turned to see Commander Crixall entering the cafeteria. The Academy's headmaster was a tall, crystalline being whose body looked like it was made of living glass. Light moved through his transparent skin in shifting patterns that showed his emotions. "Cadet Thokmor," the commander said, his voice carrying easily through the silent room. That appeared to be an assault on a fellow student. "It was just a gentle push, Commander," Thokmor said. "I was demonstrating the physical differences between our species." "I see." Commander Crixall's light patterns shifted to what Hana thought might be disapproval. "And what did this demonstration teach you?" "That humans are as fragile as expected," Thokmor said confidently. "She should be in medical right now with broken ribs." "Should be," the commander repeated. He looked at Hana, who was still standing and showed no signs of serious injury. But she is not. Curious. The commander's attention moved back to Thokmor. Since you seem interested in demonstrating physical differences, perhaps we should arrange an official demonstration. A sanctioned combat trial in the Grand Arena. The cafeteria erupted in whispers and excited chatter. A sanctioned combat trial was serious business. It was how major disputes were settled between cadets of different species. Commander, Thokmor said, that would not be fair. I might accidentally kill her. The human cadet would have to agree to the trial, Commander Crixall said. The choice would be hers. All eyes turned to Hana. She could feel the weight of their stares, the expectation that she would refuse, that she would back down and prove once and for all that humans were too weak for this place. But she thought about Gino hurrying away from the table. She thought about 3 weeks of gentle exercises and padded equipment. She thought about the laughter that followed her everywhere and the whispers about how fragile she was. I accept, she said. The room exploded in noise. Cadets from different species made sounds of excitement, disbelief, and amusement. Some were already talking about new betting pools. Thokmor's rocky face showed genuine surprise for the first time since she had met him. You accept? He said. Do you understand what that means? This is not your gentle sparring with the peaceful species. This is real combat. I understand. I could end this fight with a single punch. 1 hit and you would be unconscious. Probably in the medical bay for weeks. Maybe, Hana said. Or maybe you're not as strong as you think you are. Thokmor's red eyes blazed brighter. Very well, little human. If you want to learn the hard way, I'll teach you. But don't say I didn't warn you. Commander Crixall raised one crystalline hand for silence. The trial will take place tomorrow evening in the Grand Arena. Standard rules apply. First to yield, lose consciousness, or suffer major injury loses. Medical staff will be standing by. As the crowd began to disperse, still talking excitedly about the upcoming fight, Hana noticed a small figure approach her table. It was Dr. Yilnith, the Academy's chief medical officer. She looked like a tall, thin plant with silver bark and leaves instead of hair. Cadet Lee, the doctor said in a voice like wind through trees. Are you certain about this decision? My medical knowledge of human physiology is limited, but from what I understand, your species is not built for this kind of combat. I'm sure, Hana said. Dr. Yilnith's leaf hair rustled with what might have been concern. Very well, but I will have the full medical team ready. We cannot afford to lose Earth's representative due to preventable injuries. As the doctor walked away, Hana sat back down at her table. The cafeteria was mostly empty now, but she could still hear conversations about the upcoming fight echoing from the corridors. Tomorrow, she would step into the Grand Arena and face a being who could probably crush starships with his bare hands. Everyone expected her to lose quickly and dramatically. Maybe they were right. Maybe she was making a terrible mistake. But as she sat there, Hana remembered the feeling of Thokmor's push. The Hana could not sleep that night. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw Thokmor's massive fist coming toward her face. She kept thinking about what would happen tomorrow in the Grand Arena. Everyone expected her to lose quickly, but losing was not what worried her most. What worried her was the possibility that she might actually get seriously hurt. At 3 a.m, she gave up trying to sleep and left her quarters. The station was quieter at night, but it never truly slept. Maintenance crews worked in the corridors, and she could hear the hum of machines keeping the massive space station running. She walked without thinking about where she was going, just needing to move. Her feet carried her through sections she had never seen before, past laboratories and storage areas, until she found herself in front of a door marked Cultural Archives and Historical Records. The door was unlocked, and inside she found a vast library filled with data terminals and holographic displays. Information about thousands of worlds and species floated in glowing text around the room. At the center sat an elderly being she had never seen before. He was tall and thin, with skin like polished wood and eyes that seemed to hold starlight. When he looked up from the datapad he was reading, those ancient eyes focused on her with sharp interest. A human, he said in a voice like dry leaves. How interesting. I have not seen one of your species before tonight. I am Master Korath, keeper of these archives. I'm Lee Hana, she said. I'm sorry if I'm not supposed to be here. I couldn't sleep. Sleep is for those whose minds are at peace, Korath said. Yours is clearly troubled. Tomorrow you face Thokmor in combat, yes? The entire station is talking about it. Yes, Hana said. Everyone seems to think I'm going to die. Korath studied her for a long moment. And what do you think? I think I might be making a terrible mistake, Hana admitted. But I can't back down now. If I do, humans will never be taken seriously here. Ah, Korath said. The burden of representing one's entire species. I understand that weight. He gestured to the chair across from him. Sit, young human. Perhaps we can ease your troubled mind with knowledge. Hana sat down, grateful for someone who did not immediately tell her how fragile she was. Tell me, Korath said, what do you know about your home world? About Earth? It's where humans come from, Hana said. Third planet from a yellow star. Mostly water, with continents and islands. Basic facts, Korath said. But do you know what makes Earth special among inhabited worlds? Hana shook her head. Korath's fingers moved across his datapad, and suddenly the air around them filled with holographic displays. Images of different planets appeared, spinning slowly with information flowing beside them. These are the homeworlds of your fellow cadets, Korath said. Brixia, where Instructor Veltar comes from. Notice the gravity notation. Hana looked at the display. 0.4 standard, she read. Meaning the gravity on Brixia is less than half what your species evolved in, Korath explained. Granulos, Thokmor's world, 0.6 standard gravity. Cetheria, home of the Serpentine Zixara, 0.3 standard. More worlds appeared, each with their gravity measurements displayed. 0.5, 0.7, 0.3, 0.4. I don't understand, Hana said. What does this mean? Korath smiled, and suddenly a new image appeared, a blue and green world that made Hana's heart skip a beat. Earth, Korath said. Your home world. Gravity rating 1.5 standard. Hana stared at the number. 1.5? That's higher than any other inhabited world in our records, Korath finished. Your species evolved in gravity that would crush most beings in this academy. We set our station gravity to galactic standard, which means you are currently experiencing roughly 2/3 of the gravitational force you grew up with. The information hit Hana like lightning. She thought about all the times she had felt unusually light on her feet since arriving at the station. She had assumed it was just the different environment. But that's not all, Korath continued. Let me show you Earth's wildlife. New images appeared around them. Hana saw creatures from her homeworld, but seeing them displayed like this with detailed analysis made them look different. Your planet's apex predators, Korath said. Lions that can leap 12 feet vertically. Bears that can run 40 miles per hour and break trees with their claws. Sharks with bite forces that can crush metal. And these are just the large ones. More images flowed past. Spiders with venom that could kill beings 10 times their size. Snakes that could swallow prey larger than themselves. Even tiny insects with stings that could drop creatures weighing hundreds of pounds. Earth, Korath said quietly, is what we classify as a death world. A planet so hostile that most galactic species could not survive there for a single day. But humans aren't the strongest things on Earth, Hana said. We're not the fastest or the biggest. No, Korath agreed. But you survived. More than survived. You became the dominant species. Do you know how? Hana shook her head, still trying to process what she was seeing. Endurance, Korath said. Humans are persistence hunters. You evolved to chase prey until it collapsed from exhaustion. Your bodies are designed to keep going when everything else gives up. New displays showed human anatomy compared to other species. Hana saw diagrams of bone density, muscle fiber types, nervous system response times. Your bones, Korath explained, are denser than crystalline armor. Your muscles store and release energy like mechanical springs. Your nervous system processes and reacts to threats in microseconds. But we don't have claws or natural armor or... You don't need them, Korath interrupted. Your species developed tools and tactics. You learned to work together. You survived on a world that was constantly trying to kill you by being smarter and tougher than everything else. Hana stared at an image showing human bone density compared to granulite rock skin. The numbers were closer than she would have ever imagined. The other species see you as fragile because you look soft, Korath continued. But soft does not mean weak. A tree that bends in the storm survives while the rigid rock breaks. Are you saying I actually have a chance against Thokmor? Korath's ancient eyes studied her carefully. I am saying that everyone in this academy has been making assumptions about humans based on incomplete information, including humans themselves. He touched his datapad again, and the displays changed to show stress tests and impact measurements. Thokmore's species evolved on a low-gravity world with no major predators. They developed rock-like skin for protection against environmental hazards, not combat. Their strength comes from their size and natural armor, but their bones are actually quite brittle compared to yours. Brittle? Dense but inflexible, Korath explained. Like ceramic. Very hard to scratch, but if you apply enough force in the right way. He made a cracking gesture with his hands. Hana felt something shift in her understanding. You're telling me that Thokmore might not be as tough as he looks? I'm telling you that strength comes in many forms, Korath said. And your species has strengths that others do not recognize because they are not obvious. New images appeared showing humans in various activities. Athletes jumping impossible heights, martial artists breaking boards and stones, soldiers carrying heavy loads across great distances. This was all recorded on your homeworld in standard gravity, Korath said. What do you think happens when that same human strength is unleashed in reduced gravity? Hana thought about the morning training sessions, how easy it had been to move around, how light she felt compared to back on Earth, how Thokmore's push had only bruised her when it should have broken bones. There's something else, Korath said, his voice growing serious. These files about Earth are classified. Most beings in the Academy don't know about your world's true nature. They see humans as weak because that's what the basic species profile says. Why is it classified? Because, Korath said, knowledge of what humans really are might cause concern among some species. A race of persistence hunters from a death world let loose among the stars. Some might find that threatening. Hana looked around at all the information floating in the air around her. Her entire understanding of her place in the galaxy was changing. Master Korath, she said, why are you showing me this? The ancient being smiled. Because tomorrow you will step into that arena carrying the hopes of your species. You deserve to know what you really are. He leaned forward. You are not a fragile creature playing at being a warrior, Hana of Earth. You are a product of a world that forges survivors. The question is, will you remember that when the time comes? As Hana left the archives, her mind was spinning with new knowledge. She was not the weakest being in the Academy. She might actually be one of the strongest. Tomorrow everyone would find out which was true. The grand arena was packed beyond anything Hana had ever seen. Beings from every species at the Academy filled the massive circular structure, their excited voices creating a noise like rushing water. The arena floor below was made of some kind of blue crystal that sparkled under the bright lights. It looked beautiful, but Hana knew it was designed to withstand the most powerful attacks in the galaxy. She stood in the preparation room, wearing simple training clothes and trying to keep her hands from shaking. Through the transparent wall, she could see Thokmore in his own preparation area. The granulite was massive even by his species' standards, and today he wore traditional combat armor that made him look like a walking mountain. Last chance to change your mind, said Dr. Yilnith, checking her medical scanner one more time. There is no shame in withdrawing from an impossible fight. I'm not withdrawing, Hana said, though her voice sounded smaller than she wanted it to. The doctor's leaf hair rustled with worry. I have studied human anatomy all night, but my knowledge is still limited. I do not know how much damage your body can absorb before. She did not finish the sentence. A soft chime sounded through the room. It was time. Remember, Dr. Yilnith said as Hana walked toward the door. If you are injured, yield immediately. Pride is not worth permanent damage. Hana nodded, but she was thinking about what Master Korath had told her, about Earth's gravity and human strength and the assumptions everyone was making. Part of her still could not believe it was true. The door opened and she stepped into the arena. The noise hit her like a physical force. Thousands of beings cheering, shouting, making sounds she had never heard before. Some were calling her name, though not in support. Others were making what sounded like funeral songs. The arena floor felt solid under her feet, but she noticed something immediately. Her body felt even lighter than usual. She took a step and nearly bounced. Ladies, gentlemen, and beings of all classifications, announced Commander Crixall from his position above the arena. Welcome to this sanctioned combat trial between Cadet Thokmore of Granulos and Cadet Hana of Earth. The crowd erupted again. Hana looked up and saw thousands of eyes watching her. In one section, she spotted Gino sitting with the other technical cadets. He looked terrified. The rules are simple, the commander continued. First to yield, lose consciousness, or suffer major injury loses. Medical intervention will occur immediately if needed. Combatants, take your positions. Thokmor entered from the opposite side of the arena, and the crowd's noise became deafening. He was even more impressive here than in the cafeteria. 9 feet tall and covered in rock-like armor, he moved with surprising grace for something so massive. His red eyes focused on Hana like lasers. They walked to the center of the arena floor. Up close, the size difference was shocking. Thokmor's shadow completely covered Hana. "This is your last chance, little human," he said, his voice carrying easily over the crowd noise. "Yield now and save yourself pain." "No," Hana said. Thokmor's rocky face showed something like respect. "Brave but foolish. I will try to end this quickly." Instructor Veltar stepped between them, all 4 arms raised. "Combatants ready?" Hana dropped into a fighting stance she had practiced 10,000 times on Earth. Her feet spread for balance, hands up ready to move. Thokmor simply stood there, arms at his sides completely relaxed. "Begin." Veltar shouted and quickly moved away. For a moment, neither fighter moved. The arena fell silent except for the hum of the gravity generators and life support systems. Then Thokmor started walking forward. He moved slowly, confidently, like he had all the time in the world. His heavy feet made the crystal floor vibrate with each step. The message was clear. He did not see Hana as a threat worth rushing against. "Come, little human," he called out, loud enough for the entire arena to hear. "Show me these martial arts you spoke of." Hana did not move. She watched him approach, her mind calculating distances and angles. Master Korath's words echoed in her head. Persistence hunters, built to outlast everything else. When Thokmor was 10 feet away, he finally raised his massive fists. "I will make this quick," he said, and swung his right arm in a sweeping blow that could have knocked down a tree. But Hana was not there. She moved like water, flowing away from the punch with impossible grace. In the reduced gravity, her body responded faster than her own thoughts. The movement felt like flying. Thokmor's fist hit nothing but air, and his momentum carried him forward. He stumbled slightly, surprised. "Impossible," someone shouted from the crowd. "She's too slow to dodge that." But Hana was already moving again. Thokmor swung his left fist, then his right again, each blow powerful enough to shatter stone. None of them came close to hitting her. In the reduced gravity, Hana felt like she was dancing. Every step carried her further than it should. Every movement was faster and more controlled than she had ever experienced. It was like her body had been waiting her whole life to feel this light. "Stop running," Thokmor roared, his swings becoming wilder. "Fight me." The crowd was making different sounds now. Confusion mixed with the excitement. They had expected the human to go down with the first hit. Instead, she was making one of the Academy's strongest fighters look clumsy. For 3 full minutes, Hana simply evaded. She let Thokmor chase her around the arena, his massive form becoming more and more frustrated. His rock-like skin was starting to show stress cracks from the force of his own missed punches. "This is boring," someone yelled from the stands. "Hit her!" But Hana was learning something important with each dodge. Thokmor was strong, yes, but he was also slow. His attacks were powerful but predictable, and most importantly, he was getting tired. The granulite's breathing was becoming labored. Sweat was beading on his rocky skin. His people might be strong, but they were not built for endurance. Humans were. "Getting tired?" Hana asked, landing lightly on her feet after avoiding another massive swing. "I am just getting started," Thokmor panted, but his movements were clearly slowing down. Hana could feel the eyes of the entire Academy on her. Thousands of beings who had dismissed her as weak and fragile were watching her dance around their strongest fighter, like he was moving through thick mud. But she was not just showing off. She was studying him, learning the rhythm of his attacks, finding the weak points in his armor. "Waiting for the right moment. Stand still and fight," Thokmor bellowed, throwing a punch so hard that it cracked the crystal floor where Hana had been standing a second before. "Why?" Hana asked, easily stepping away from his follow-up attack. "You said I was too weak to be dangerous. If that's true, why are you so frustrated?" The question seemed to break something in Thokmor's mind. His red eyes blazed brighter, and he let out a roar that echoed through the entire arena. "Because you are making me look like a fool," he shouted and threw the most powerful punch of the entire fight. The blow had all his strength behind it. If it had connected, it would have put Hana through the arena wall. But like all his other attacks, it hit nothing but air. This time, though, the force of his own missed punch threw Thokmor completely off balance. His massive body twisted as momentum carried him forward, and for just a moment his armored back was turned toward Hana. She saw her chance. Everything Master Korath had told her came together in her mind. Death world, high gravity, persistence hunter, dense bones, spring-loaded muscles. For the first time in the fight, Hana stopped running. She planted her feet on the crystal floor, drew back her right fist, and smiled. The arena held its breath. "My turn," she said. Thokmor started to turn around, his red eyes widening as he realized she was no longer retreating, but he was off balance, still recovering from his own attack. He was too slow. Hana put everything she had into the punch. All the training from Earth, all the strength built up from growing up in crushing gravity, all the speed and power that came from finally being free of her world's heavy pull. Her fist traveled less than 2 feet. It connected with the center of Thokmor's armored chest, the hardest part of his entire body. The sound was like thunder. The impact sent shockwaves through the arena floor. The crystal beneath Hana's feet exploded outward in a spiderweb of cracks that raced toward the walls. Emergency alarms began screaming as the arena's structural integrity. Systems detected impossible stress readings. Thokmor did not just fall. Down, he flew. 800 pounds of rock and muscle rocketed backward like he had been hit by a starship. He crashed through the arena's rear wall with a sound like breaking mountains and disappeared into the corridor beyond, leaving a perfectly Thokmor-shaped hole in the reinforced metal. The arena fell completely silent. Hana stood in the center of a 20-foot crater, flexing her fingers as if working out a small cramp. She looked around at the thousands of shocked faces staring down at her. "I win," she said. The silence in the grand arena lasted for exactly 17 seconds. Hana knew because she counted them while standing in the crater she had created with a single punch. 17 seconds of complete, absolute quiet from thousands of beings who had come to watch a human get crushed. Then the noise exploded. Not cheering or booing, but something Hana had never heard before. A sound like the entire galaxy trying to process something impossible. Voices in dozens of languages all asking the same question in different ways. What just happened? Emergency teams rushed toward the hole in the arena wall where Thokmor had disappeared. Medical drones swarmed around the area, their scanners working frantically. Through the jagged opening, Hana could see the granulite's massive form embedded 3 feet deep in solid metal corridor wall. He was not moving. "Medical emergency." Dr. Yilnath's voice cut through the chaos as she raced across the damaged arena floor. But she was not running toward Hana. She was heading for Thokmor Commander. Krixal's crystalline form flickered with rapidly changing light patterns as he tried to process what his sensors were telling him. His voice boomed over the arena's communication system, but for the first time since Hana had met him, he sounded uncertain. "The winner of this combat trial is Cadet Hana of Earth." The announcement should have been followed by cheers or groans from the betting crowd. Instead, it was met with stunned silence broken only by the emergency alarm still screaming warnings about structural damage. Hana climbed out of the crater, her legs feeling strangely weak now that the fight was over. As she walked across the cracked crystal floor, she noticed that every eye in the arena was following her movement. But the expressions had changed completely. Fear. That was what she saw in the alien faces looking down at her. Not mockery or amusement or pity. Fear. "Cadet Lee," came a voice from above. Master Korath was standing in the command booth next to Commander Krixal, his ancient eyes bright with something that might have been pride. "Please report to the medical bay for examination." As Hana left the arena, she could hear the conversation starting behind her. Voices speaking in urgent whispers, trying to understand what they had just witnessed. "Did you see the sensor readings? The force measurement must be wrong. No granulite has ever been defeated in single combat. What are humans really?" The medical bay was chaos. Dr. Yilnath was working frantically on Thokmor, who was still unconscious. His rock-like armor was cracked in several places, and there was a perfect fist-shaped dent in his chest where Hana had hit him. "He will live," the doctor said, without looking up from her patient. "But he has 3 broken ribs, a concussion, and severe bruising to his internal organs. In 50 years of treating granulites, I have never seen injuries like this." "Is he going to be okay?" Hana asked. Dr. Yilnath finally looked at her, and Hana saw something new in the plant-like being's expression. "Caution. He will recover fully in a few weeks," the doctor said, But Cadet Lee, I need to examine you as well. That punch should have shattered every bone in your hand. Hana looked down at her right fist. There was not even a bruise. It feels fine. That is what concerns me, Dr. Yilneth said. She activated a medical scanner and ran it over Hana's hand and arm. The results made her leaf hair rustle with confusion. Your bone density is remarkable, and your muscle structure appears to be designed for explosive power delivery. What does that mean? Before the doctor could answer, the medical bay doors opened and Commander Crixall entered, followed by Master Korath and Instructor Veltar. Behind them came a crowd of senior academy staff, all looking like they had seen something that challenged everything they thought they knew about the galaxy. Cadet Lee, Commander Crixall said, his light patterns now a steady, serious blue. We need to discuss what just happened in that arena. I won the fight, Hana said simply. You did more than win, Veltar said, all four of his arms gesturing at the datapad he was holding. According to our sensors, your punch generated force equivalent to a small starship collision. The arena floor was designed to withstand direct hits from military-grade weapons, and you destroyed it with your bare hand, Commander Crixall added. This raises significant questions about human capabilities. Master Korath stepped forward, his ancient eyes meeting Hana's. Perhaps it is time for some truths to be revealed. The old Keeper of Knowledge activated a holographic display that filled the room. Images of Earth appeared, along with data that made several of the Academy staff step backward in surprise. Earth, Korath said, is classified as a Class 12 death world. Only 17 such planets are known to exist in the galaxy. Most are considered uninhabitable. Death world, Dr. Yilneth whispered. A planet so hostile that most galactic species would die within hours of setting foot on it, Korath explained. Gravity 1.5 times galactic standard. Atmospheric pressure that would crush most beings. Weather systems capable of destroying cities, and predators that make our worst nightmares look tame. New images showed Earth's wildlife. The assembled aliens made sounds of horror and disbelief as they saw creatures that hunted and killed with casual efficiency. Humans, Korath continued, are the only known species to not just survive on a death world, but to thrive and become its dominant life form. Commander Crixall's light pattern shifted to what Hana was learning to recognize as deep concern. Why was this information not included in the human species profile? Because, Korath said quietly, some truths are too dangerous to share widely. A species of persistence hunters from a death world, evolved in crushing gravity and constant danger, might be seen as threatening to galactic peace. Instructor Veltar looked at the data flowing around them, his expression changing as understanding dawned. In reduced gravity, their strength would be amplified significantly, Korath finished. What you witnessed today was not a human at full combat potential. It was a human operating at roughly 60% of her normal physical capacity. The room fell silent as everyone processed this information. 60%? Dr. Yilneth asked weakly. Hana felt all eyes turn back to her. These beings who had dismissed her as fragile and weak were now looking at her like she was some kind of weapon. Cadet Lee, Commander Crixall said slowly. How many other humans are coming to this academy? 11 more are scheduled to arrive next month, Hana said. For the expanded exchange program. The commander's light patterns flickered rapidly. Master Korath, I need all available data on human physiology immediately. If we are going to be training more of their species, we need to completely revise our safety protocols. Already done, Korath said, with what might have been a smile. I took the liberty of preparing new training guidelines after reviewing the Earth files last night. As the adults talked among themselves, Hana noticed movement from the medical bed. Thokmor was waking up. The massive granulite's red eyes opened slowly, focusing with difficulty on the ceiling above him. When he tried to sit up, Dr. Yilneth gently pushed him back down. Stay still, the doctor ordered. You have significant injuries. What happened? Thokmor asked, his voice weaker than Hana had ever heard it. Did I win? The question brought another moment of silence to the room. No, Hana said, stepping closer to his bed. I won with one punch. Thokmor's red eyes found her face. For a long moment, he simply stared at her, his expression cycling through confusion, disbelief, and finally something that might have been respect. One punch, he repeated quietly. You put me through a wall with one punch. I'm sorry if I hurt you too badly, Hana said. I was not sure how much force to use. How much force to use, Throckmore said, and then he started laughing. It was a weak, pained sound, but it was genuine laughter. The tiny human was holding back. We all were wrong about your species, he continued, looking around the room at the assembled staff. Terribly, completely wrong. Commander Crixall stepped forward. Cadet Throckmore, you should know that this information is classified. Human capabilities are not to be discussed outside this room. Understood, Commander, Throckmore said. But I have one request. What is it? The Granulite looked back at Hana, and she saw something new in his eyes. Not fear, but genuine curiosity. I want to learn, he said. If humans are this strong, I want to understand how they fight, how they think. Maybe they can teach us something. That, said Master Korath, is exactly what I was hoping someone would say. Over the following weeks, everything changed at the academy. Hana was moved to advanced combat training with the senior cadets. Her modified equipment was replaced with gear designed for the strongest species in the galaxy. Instead of mockery, she found herself surrounded by beings eager to learn from her. Throckmore became one of her closest friends, once he recovered from his injuries. He was fascinated by human fighting techniques and spent hours learning about Earth's martial arts. When the next group of humans arrived, they were greeted not as fragile weaklings, but as warriors from a death world. The entire academy had been restructured to accommodate their true capabilities, and in the depths of space, word began to spread among the military forces of the galaxy. Earth had joined the Galactic Alliance. The humans were coming. They were not the weak, peaceful species everyone had expected. They were something far more dangerous and far more valuable.